Many people believe Jeff Bezos to be the richest person to ever walk the globe. However, there have been numerous billionaires and trillionaires before him. Even so, it can be hard to figure out how rich someone was who was born in the 1400s or who owned a kingdom. However, with the help of many experts, a fairly complete list can now be made. Welcome to Financial Fluence. In this video, I'll teach you the 10 richest people in history. Let's now get going. Number 10. William the Conqueror, $230 billion. The first Norman king of England's estimated wealth peaked at roughly $230 billion, somewhat more than Jeff Bezos' wealth. During his prosperous reign, he built more than 500 castles all over England and Wales. This made him one of the most powerful landowners in English history. Because he was known for eating well and dressing well, Lucas took away all of his things as soon as he died in 1087, leaving him with nothing. Number 9. Osman Ali Khan, $236 billion. Osman Ali Khan, the richest man in the world, was pictured on Time magazine's cover in 1937. The city of Hyderabad is India's last ruler. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, his net worth was somewhere between $236 and $750 billion. The fifth largest polished diamond in the world, the Jacob diamond, was always with Osman Ali Khan. He did not mount it on a ring or necklace, but rather used it as a paperweight. He ate from a tin dish and frequently asked his guests to smoke. From what was known, he stitched his own garments and knit socks. During his reign, he invented electric airplanes. He was well known for offering substantial financial support to religious and educational institutions throughout India. Number 8. Nikolai Romanov, $300 billion. Nikolai Romanov, the last Tsar of Russia, is thought to have amassed a fortune worth more than $300 billion. Despite being unable and unwilling to serve as monarch, he was paid a salary of 250,000 rubles annually, plus an additional 20,000 rubles. He often spent 20,000 rubles to have clothes and military uniforms made just for him. His wife often went shopping with him and spent up to 40,000 rubles in the same way. His annual hunting budget was similar to the yearly salaries of 100 educators. If that isn't lavish money, I don't know what is. His travels were typically hunting trips, and 50 crew members were brought along to make the experience as luxurious as possible. Number 7. Andrew Carnegie, $309 billion. Andrew Carnegie's net worth is $309 billion. He began his career as a telegraph messenger and ascended to the position of superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Western Division with dedication, devotion, and attention to detail. His job helped him learn a lot about business and investing, and he was able to put a lot of money into the railroad industry just as it was starting to grow after the Civil War. Carnegie left the railroad business and started a number of ironworks companies, including the Keystone Bridge Works and the Union Iron Works. His most famous quote, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced," was also practiced by him. He donated the equivalent of $4.8 billion to charities and, upon his death, gave most of it away. He left a small sum of his wealth to his family and also left sizable amounts to his housekeeper, nurse, main servant, and butler. Number 6. Jacob Fuger, $400 billion. When Jacob reached adulthood, his parents had amassed a fortune from the sale of textiles in Italy. He started mining for copper, cinnabar, quicksilver, and silver. His money helped create all of the Vatican buildings, including the Sistine Chapel. He had a reputation for lavish spending, which at times included building homes, buying fine art, and buying expensive clothing. His wife got a lot out of this, and at one point he gave her jewelry worth 40,000 guilders. His own home was 4 stories tall at the time and was a modern Renaissance structure. There were water fountains and fireplaces in every room. He was also a generous contributor. He developed Fuger, the world's first low-income housing program. There are 52 homes on the land that house families in tough conditions. And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and turn on the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Let's return to the video now. Number 5. John Rockefeller, $400 billion. When the oil tycoon started the Standard Oil Company in 1870, he was worth about $400 billion. The value of the company quickly went through the roof. At one point, the Standard Oil Company held 90% of the oil in the United States. His personal wealth grew to the point where it represented 2% of the national economy. Rockefeller led an extraordinarily comfortable existence. He owned mansions all over the country, including a 40-home room with views of New York City. The mansion was built over a 6-year period on what became known as the Polk in Teco estate, which included 75 houses, 70 roads, 9 holes of reverse golf, outdoor swimming pools, several tennis courts, a full-size bowling alley, billiards rooms, its own farm, and gardens. He donated 10% of his income yearly to charity. Number 4. Akbar, $500 billion. In the 1500s, Akbar the Great ruled over a huge empire and amassed a fortune that is estimated to be worth about $500 billion. Though some say he was worth much more because he was a direct descendant of Genghis Khan. He was most well known for his religious tolerance, which was unprecedented at the time. Even though he was a Muslim and many of his closest advisors and city leaders were Hindu, he worked hard to promote religious freedom and tolerance. He was renowned for his contributions to the translation of Hindu literature, and even took an active role in Hindu festivals. Little is known about how his wealth was spent, although it is apparent that he had a lot of it because his empire possessed 25% of global GDP for many years. Number 3. Augustus Caesar, $4.3 trillion. Perhaps Julius Caesar is more recognized than his heir, Augustus Caesar. He wasn't rich, but he is the only person in history who is known to have owned $1 trillion. He owned a fifth of the Roman Empire's wealth, which made up 30% of the world's GDP. At the time of his death, one of the last recorded things he said was, "I found Rome of clay. I leave it to you of marble." This was true. His rule ensuring the beginning of a 200-year period of peace and prosperity in the empire. Number 2. Shenzhang of Song. The second finisher on our list for the richest individual in history is also one of the most mysterious. From 1067 through 1087, Song Emperor Shenzhang ruled. They were the leading producer of bronze urns in the world. Farmers were given the freedom to own their own property. Rice production exploded and became a mainstay of the economy, and magnetic compasses and gunpowder printing were also developed, making them a commercial superpower. The Song dynasty was able to invent paper money during this time, as well as the world's first navy, which allowed them to defend their trade routes and safeguard their products. With this, the Emperor of Shenzhen controlled 30% of the world's GDP and had a highly centralized economy. Shenzhang was noted for being generous. He is seen as a predecessor of the present welfare system. His programs actively improved the conditions of the unemployed, the homeless, and peasants. Number 1. Mansa Musa. The world's wealthiest individual may be someone you've never heard of, but after this, you won't forget him. Mansa Musa had a fortune so big and lavish that historians today don't know how much money he really had. He galloped across Africa on zebras, carrying at least 80 camels, carrying between 50 and 300 pounds each, which he considered to be spare change. He got together tens of thousands of soldiers, slaves, and heralds. They all wore silk from Persia and carried gold staff. It is claimed that he paid to build a mosque every single Friday while on his lengthy journey to Mecca. He reportedly spent days at a time in Mecca, giving himself completely to his studies and faith. He went back to his house and started building palaces, mosques, and universities all over his dominion. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy similar stuff, check out my other videos. And if you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next video.